What if I told you there was an anime Tony Hawk style game, except instead of a skateboard you could flip trick a train? What if there were boss fights and each of these were a giant mech? That game is Denshattack, an indie arcade point-based game where you drive a train carriage. Is this crazy concept one that comes together as a cohesive and enjoyable game, or is it one that went too off rails for its own good? What's up? How's it going, people? Welcome to Casual Gamer Reviews. If you want to support the channel, then please leave a like, subscribe and share with your friends. If you don't like it, then leave a thumbs down and let me know how I can be better for you. Denshattack took me 10 hours to complete the main story, but you can replay the levels as much as you want to get higher scores. Reviewed on the Nintendo Switch 2. Denshattack combines a few arcade-style games, with the main similarities being Tony Hawk and Subway Surfers. Tony Hawk because it's a trick-based scoring system where building combos leads to a higher score, and Subway Surfers because you'll be dancing between tracks to avoid obstacles. The mechanics go so much deeper than this though. What I have just described is surface level. The learning curve of Denshattack is slow and meaningful. Each new world level defined by story chapters will teach you a brand new mechanic, meaning that what you do at the start is incredibly different from the end, and that variation is the main reason why this game is so much fun to play. You begin with simple tricks that can be performed when you either jump or hit a ramp. These are performed through moving the right analog stick, and there is a whole trictionary for you to explore, ranging from your simple kickflip to a back cancel heel impossible. You can chain this together with a manual, which will feel very familiar to the skating games. Later on down the line, you will learn how to grind, how to wall slide, how to switch gravity, how to loop tunnels, as well as some other interesting moves. When you start linking all of these together, you feel unstoppable, and it gives you that feeling of pure adrenaline. In other words, this shit slaps. The obstacles require you to switch tracks in quick succession to avoid crashing, and this could be as simple as moving to the side, but can also require jumping or even moving off the track entirely in the case of tunnels. As you would expect, these get more complex the further along in the campaign you are, and test your reflexes in a fun way. Crashing is not detrimental in terms of your progress along the level, as a checkpointing is very generous. This game really wants to keep up its fast pace as much as possible, but crashing does make you lose the points that are being accumulated in your current combo. If you simply just want to see the story and have fun doing it, the points don't really matter, as there are only a handful of levels where you need a certain score to progress. But if you are playing to get gold medals, crashing can be catastrophic. For example, if you've been chaining a combo since the start of the track, which you'll be doing if you want a gold medal, a small crash at the end will wipe out that whole combo, meaning you'll have 0 points. This challenges you to have perfect runs for the gold medals, and it's not even a daunting feat because it feels so good to play that you don't mind restarting. I think it's essential for arcade style games to have challenges, as it provides the grounds for the replayability, and Denshattack doesn't disappoint. I also have to sing praises when it comes to level design. These guys seriously deserve a raise because they are beyond impressive. Outside of the boss levels, most will take you around 2 to 4 minutes to complete, but what's condensed into that delightful package is the most fast-paced and free-flowing movement you will experience this year. Most will have alternate pathways to take that require some quick thinking or particular trick to access, which makes replays more enjoyable. As you get later in the game, there's a rainbow track that can be unlocked if you build up a trick meter, which offers a bespoke route that you may not even see if you don't build up your trick score enough. But most of all, it just works seamlessly. I cannot even comprehend how you would even begin to build some of these levels, but as you move from track to grind pipe to wall ride to grapple point to tunnel, while also offering a different variety of options to trick in the process, it could not feel more fluid. As I hinted at, which is expected of an arcade game, as you complete each level you will get a score at the end denoted by a medal. No medal, bronze, silver and gold are the available rewards, and these are determined by 3 factors: your point score, your completion time, and lastly additional objectives. Point score and completion time need no explanation, but the additional objectives are what offer the most replayability, as they are extremely unique to each level. If you want a gold medal, you must complete all additional objectives, and these can be ranging anything from a no crash run to grinding a specific spot. I had loads of fun replaying through the first world to get all of the gold medals, and I can't wait to make my way through the other ones too. At the time of writing, admitting I have not got bored yet. Every now and then along your journey you will come across a mechanic shop. These are places where you can customize your train carriage, whether that be simply cosmetic or completely changing the model. Each train model has a handful of colorways to choose from, and as you progress the story, you will unlock stickers to customize the appearance further. You look rad as hell in this game, tricking all over the place, so it only makes sense to have this many cosmetic alterations. The different train models themselves have different abilities tied to them, so choose the one that sounds best for your playstyle. There are trains who can hold manuals for longer, or ones that increase the score of advanced tricks and reduce the score of basic ones. One of them increases the speed of executing tricks. Others get more specific and focus on grinds or jumps. You unlock more and more as the game goes on, so it's worth trying them out to suit your preference. I personally found switching the trains useful when I was replaying for gold medals, as different stages are set up in ways that benefit specific models. How gorgeous Denshattack's art style is apparent for all to see. It's colourful, it's quirky, and it's perfect for the arcade nature of the gameplay. It is a cel-shaded anime-inspired aesthetic that excels on all fronts. Firstly, the character designs are awesome. The unique looks and diversity that has been hand-drawn by these developers is astonishing. Our main girl Emmy is your cool dude who everyone just gets on with. She's got cool yellow pants, electrifying earrings, and short, fiery red hair. Yoshi is a glamorous diva who controls a gang of mecha magical girls. Yamagata is a dude that is extremely nonchalant, but you would not want to get on the wrong side of. You can really feel the characteristics through the portrait designs of these individuals, and they look amazing on screen when they show up in dialogue. The game also does have a few short, fully animated and voiced cutscenes which show these characters in motion for that little bit of extra visual wow factor. Then there's the world itself, or what you see of it from your position on the tracks. This is supposed to be a dystopian Japan that has been ravaged by a climate crisis, but not for 1 second does it look dull. Each different area has its own identity, and even at times of darkness and destruction, it still looks vibrant. In my eyes, that's a triumph. The soundtrack is huge with 80 tracks and has 3 core composers. T. Lopez, who is known most for Sonic Frontiers, but has also touched Penny's Big Breakaway and TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Sean Bialo, who has credits across Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Rita's Rewind, and the upcoming He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, Dragon Pearl of Destruction, to name a couple. And last on the board is Andrew One, who is less credited than the other two, but had the huge task of also mixing and mastering the entire OST, which you will understand is a mammoth task when you listen to it. The soundtrack is really good and incredibly eclectic. I understand why this was when you look at the list of featuring artists. This contains names like Ryo Nagamatsu, composer of Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, as well as several of the Legend of Zelda titles, Lotus Juice, who raps on your favourite modern Persona tracks, and Alice Peralta, who has performed across multiple Splatoon titles as well as Super Smash Bros. The sound is electronic, often with turntable scratching, but also many tracks incorporate guitars or saxophones, which give it that eclectic nature. However, having said that, it is also threaded together with a hint of Japanese fusion that runs through the whole soundtrack. The game is not fully voice acted in all dialogue, but it does have voice acting during the cutscenes. I played the game in English, so I can only comment on their performances, but all in all, I thought they were solid. Especially Emmy, who is an endearing young protege. She is brought to life excellently by Rhiannon Mouchel, who is known for her previous roles in Honkai Star Rail, Mouse PI for Hire, and Arknights Enfield. You will find good performances across the board and be pretty impressed with the main characters. Emmy is just your typical ramen delivery gal. However, in the world of Denshattack, there are no roads, only tracks. Driving her dad's little Beppu Star about, she meets Fernando, a zine maker, and learns about the sport of Denshattack. This is a sport of competing against others by performing tricks with the trains. It is a sort of territorial gang mentality, as each of the areas are controlled by Denshattack groups and their leader. The world of Japan has fallen into disarray due to a climate crisis, and so there have been protective domes constructed to save the richest from the destruction. These domes are controlled by a mega corporation, obviously. Emmy meets all of the rival gangs, her fellow outside of the dome compatriots, on her journey and must befriend them through besting them on the track. Soon the bigger picture opens up and we get to see if the power of friendship and trains is enough to topple a megacorp. Now, this is a story we see a lot nowadays, and it makes sense why. I don't, however, think it's a particularly good iteration. It's by no means bad, but this game isn't any better off, and wouldn't be any worse off for that matter, with this story's overarching narrative existing. The characters are what's interesting, and really the gang backstories are what generate the intrigue. The dialogue is even focused more on them than the corporation, so I think it's possible even the developers thought this too. In summary, I say it's good, albeit a little unnecessary. The character stories though are stellar. The real side content of Denshattack is the massive replayability, that drive to get the gold medals on every stage. It's really tough but so much fun at the same time. My one criticism of that is I wish you didn't have to replay the opening dialogue every time. It will take a bunch of attempts to get the gold medals, especially as you get further into the game, so it requires you to become a master of the track. This is where you see the sheer quality of level design like I mentioned earlier. I'm not 100% sure as I haven't done it myself yet, but just looking at the amount of time it took me to get all the gold medals in World 1, I'd imagine you'd triple if not quadruple your playtime trying to get the gold medals on every world. The other piece of side content are the zines your buddy Fernando creates. These are filled with shots of you doing a sick trick in some locations, but also a lot of backstory about both the environments and the characters you meet. It's a fun and very on-brand way of discovering more about the world and its inhabitants if it interests you. Denshattack is a game that looks sick on its first reveal last year, and it is one of the few titles that actually lives up to its initial hype. The crazy concept of blending an arcade-style Tony Hawk game with a train carriage not only works, but it's one that I now consider to be one of the best. The gameplay is astonishingly intuitive and delightful to engage with. The praise I have for it is really high, and that's before I even mention how incredible the art style, soundtrack and characters are. The smallest of criticisms have to be applied to a story that is slightly generic, but to be honest, you'll be having too much fun to notice. Denshattack gets a casual gamer score of 9.5 out of 10. Check the channel for my recent reviews of The Adventures of Elliot, Mina the Hollower and 007 First Light. If you want to see all the brand spanking new games releasing in August, then check my video for that too. If you want to support the channel, then leave a like, subscribe and share with your friends. If you don't like it, then leave a thumbs down and I'll try to be better next time. Let me know in the comments below if you'll be picking up Denshattack, and for everything else casual gamer, keep it here. Peace and love.